Hey everyone, Dankman here. So, example 1 was the first video, now I'm going to do example 2, the second video. And to remind you, the game involved figuring out, in this first example, two numbers, okay? And those two numbers had to add up to 5, alrighty? And multiply to 6, and they were mystery numbers. We didn't know what they were. And we found them, and it turned out that one of the mystery numbers was 3 and the other mystery number was 2. Okay? So the 5 is the coefficient for the x term, and the 6 is the numerical or constant term on the end. So looking down here, we're going to look at the 7, coefficient for the x term, and the negative 30, the constant numerical term on the end, and I'm going to create an x game. And that x game is going to ask the question, hey, Dankman, can you think of two numbers that add to 7 and multiply to negative 30? So a big part of this example is to think about the fact that this number here has a negative sign on it. So we need two numbers that add to 7 and multiply to make negative 30. Alrighty? And then we'll test out our work to see those. When I'm working on a problem like that, I tend to want to start with the number 30 and think about pairs of numbers that can multiply to make 30. So for instance, I happen to know that 30 is 15 times 2, or 10 times 3, or 6 times 5, and I'm going to think to myself, how can I get these two numbers, 15 and 2, or 10 and 3, or 6 and 5, to add up to the number 7? But the problem here is, since it's negative 30, I know that one or the other of these numbers has to be negative. So for instance, I could try 15 and negative 2. Those multiply to make negative 30, and 15 plus negative 2 adds to make 13. So the multiplication is correct, but the addition part is not correct. Okay? Or I could have tried, say, negative 15 and positive 2, in which case my multiplication part is correct for negative 30. But my addition part, negative 15 plus 2, will give me negative 13. So the problem with the addition part is, in both cases here, they give me positive 13 or negative 13, but I'm going for positive 7. So I'll try my next ones, 10 and 3. And I could try 10 and negative 3, and that'll multiply to give me negative 30. When I add 10 plus negative 3, those add together to give me positive 7. And that's actually what I wanted. Two numbers that multiply to negative 30 and add to positive 7. So my mystery numbers here are going to be the numbers positive 10 and negative 3. And as a reminder, when I set up my whole compound rectangle and I filled in my mystery numbers, okay, the whole point of that was to think, hey, in order to multiply two groups together to get this, I set up my two groups, which is going to be parentheses group times parentheses group. I know the first term in each little group will be an x, and that leaves me these two mystery holes right here, and I just filled those mystery holes in with positive 10 and negative 3 based on understanding my x game and playing that x game successfully, which we've been doing all year. And so, I think that when I've been asked to factor this expression, x squared plus 7x minus 30, into x plus 10 times x minus 3, I think I've gotten it correctly, and I'll check my work here by taking x plus 10 and x minus 3 and testing and making sure it really does multiply back together to give me the thing, the expression I started with. So I'll do x times x, and then x times negative 3, and then 10 times x, so plus 10x, and then 10 times negative 3 plus 10 times negative 3. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is minus 3x. 10 times x is plus 10x, and 10 times negative 3 is minus 30. And now we can see we've got to add the middle parts to get negative 3x plus 10x will give me positive 7x. And the end part was the product of 10 and negative 3. And then I've got my x squared out front. X squared plus 7x minus 30 That's the expression I started with, so I know that I successfully took this expression and broke it down into a multiplication problem. So I factored this into two factors that multiply back together successfully to give me what I started with. Next will be example number 3.